Hi! Wow, that's well, that's a new low for me. I am so sorry. This is gonna be, it bodes so well for this video. Good luck with that. Hi, I'm Kat. I'm a professional alcohol marker illustrator, and today I thought I would teach you guys my speciality, which is how to draw a image. It doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be an eye, in monochrome, and then glazing it with colour, all using alcohol markers. Let's get to it. So I always use Expressive blending card. It is my favourite paper. It's really nice and thick, it's beautiful and smooth, and it handles so many layers. It's amazing. You can use maybe other papers like Bristol, like the smooth Bristol should be okay as long as it's about 200, 250 GSM or above. Or I guess even if you had like a printing paper that was about that level of thickness, it might work, but this is the one that I love. When I started out in alcohol marker drawing, a lot of people will comment that, oh my god, you haven't used a sketch, or you're not sketching with a pencil, or like, do you just start out with alcohol markers? And I do, but it's kind of cheating because I start out with an alcohol marker, but it's just like the lightest version of my shadows. So I can make as many mistakes as I want. It's going to disappear underneath all the other layers that are going to happen above it. So in this case I picked, I think it was R0000, and I'm just sketching that out, and once I've worked out what I think it's going to look like, I then pick 4 colours in the same sort of colour family-ish. In this case I'm going to like burgundies, and I'm going to pick like a light tone, 2 mids and a super dark. I'm going to start out with my lightest tone and just make sure I define all the correct lines that I decided on with my sketch. And then I'm going to go in with my absolute darkest colour. The reason I do this, I think, is actually just because I'm really scared to get to dark. Like if I left myself to my own devices, I would spend like 10 years just sort of like doing like 1 increment darker and then 1 increment darker. And I found if I just go straight in and I identify where my absolute darkest darks are and I put them in, then I kind of like have to make that work. So once I've got that darkest tone down, I just start working from my lightest to that darkest color and just like layering and layering and working towards getting to that darker tone. Now, I think if you've used markers before, you'll know that if you put a lighter color on a darker color, it will kind of bleach it out. And that definitely happens using this technique, which is fine because I think that still somehow creates like a depth that you don't get from just picking the colours straight away that you want to use. It's kind of almost like sculpting, I guess, with ink, with a marker ink maybe. So you'll notice that as you're going, like it's going to start lightening that deepest deep. And once you kind of get to a point where you feel like you've blended it enough that it all kind of like connects now, I just go straight back in with that darkest colour and then just like really make those dark areas pop and define the areas that I want to be like really obnoxious. Just like really contrasting, like that is the shadow. Hello, would you like to come up on my lap? This is Loki. He's going to join us because otherwise he's going to tippy toe around the floor and ruin my already terrible audio. So once I've done that and I'm happy with how my monochrome looks, what it should look like is like just the exact picture you want to do, but it's in black and white or in monochrome. Don't leave anything out that you think you're going to put in with a colour. You want to do it all in the monochrome. Once that's done, I pick the colours that I think I'm going to stain with. So these are just the colours that I want to put over the top. I'm not worrying about shadows or like shading with them or anything. These are literally just the colour tones that I want. If you're a digital artist, imagine that you've just put like a colour layer on and this is what you're doing with your colours. So I'm going to start out with my lightest colour again. Basically, my theory is on this, once you're starting at this phase, you can make enough mistakes with the lights that you can fix it, but once you start making mistakes with your dark colours, you can't fix it. And as you can see, my tiny human 2.0 decided to join me for a bit and help out with drumming for me. So I'm going to keep working on this skin tone. With skin tones, I don't pick one colour. I don't want to have like Simpsons syndrome. I want to make sure I have at least 3 different tones that I'm using for my skin colour. I usually pick, in this case, I've picked like a yellow tone, a pink tone, and then like a cool tone, which I've used like a I say cool, it's a warm purple, but it's cooler than like the rest of the colors that I've picked. So I've started out with the yellow tone, and then I go in with the pink one and kind of just like put that in like kind of the shadowy areas or like next to the shadowy areas. And also like a darker pink in like the areas where your, you know, blood vessels are more obvious. So like around your eyes, if it wasn't just an eye, I'd be doing it like nose, lips, ears, cheekbones, all that sort of stuff. And later you'll see me add the purple in. Then I've decided with this one that she's going to be, or he, potentially he with beautiful eyelashes, is going to be a gorgeous auburn person. So I'm going to do some really cool sort of auburn, orangey type eyelashes. I thought they contrast really nicely. And I'm going in with my lightest tone again. I like to do with eyelashes, instead of just having like one color. Again, here we go. Maybe this is my motto. All colors always. No colors in moderation. I like to start out with a lighter color and then work my way to dark, especially with eyelashes. I like to have like the furthest away from the actual eye as my lightest tone, and then as they get further in and kind of like curl into the eyeball, they're getting darker and darker. I think it just looks nicer. It's not as like garish and just like bang eyelash, but also it sort of shows that sort of 3D in depth. So I'm going to go in now with, now that I've done all that like orange color, I'm going in with more of like a red tone, like a autumn leaf red, or like maybe a brick red, no. And I'm going in, and I'm not coloring all the way to the end of the eyelash this time. You'll see I'm kind of like filtering off just before the tips. And I will go in again with a darker color sometimes if I think that that hasn't given enough of a obvious shift in like color. I'm also making sure I color in the whites of the eyes. I actually don't want to leave any white in my image, because I'm going to go in later with gel pens and do highlights, and I really want those to pop. If you put that on white, then it's just, you're not going to see it. It's not going to really give you any purchase. So I just put in like a light gray, just to sort of like give that eye, that shadow under the eyelash as well. And then I decided to pick blue for my eye, because I thought that was like a great contrast, entire contrast. I don't have enough lap for two tiptoey dogs. Thank you, Flea. Lie down. Good duck. I thought it would contrast really nicely with the auburn's and the oranges. And I wanted to make sure it was like a light color on where the light hits as well, because I'm using so much shadow around that area too. Some of the fun things that you can do, pulling up color with a blender. So I've used the blender sort of along the edge where I feel like I've maybe put too much shadow in. You can see it kind of pulling up the color a little bit. I also realized it when I was editing this that I lost some of my footage, which is very annoying. I don't know what happened to it. It just wasn't there. So what you missed was just me putting in that sort of like cooler purple tone that we mentioned before. It's just the V12, this guy. So it's like a, you can't see that. Just a V12. It's a warm color, but you can see it's sort of like in here and sort of under this brow bone here and a little bit around this side. And the only other thing was I started putting in highlights with my gel pen. This day I was using a Sakura Jelly Roll, which is the first time I'd used it, and I actually really like it, which is surprising because I am a snob when it comes to white gel pens. So suggested. And all I'm doing with that is I'm like coloring in and then smudging it out before it dries. At this point I decided I wanted to add freckles because I love adding freckles. I think they're really beautiful, and I love having like beautiful, this is a compliment, beautiful skin beautiful skin imperfections. I really like adding moles. Okay, bye. Okay, bye. Okay, bye. Okay. They protect. I don't have time for this, guys. I don't want to edit much of this if I can help it. Thanks. Imperfections, yes. I like adding like skin tone, skin color, discoloration. They're gonna make me edit this, aren't they? I hear you. Oh, fine. 'Twas the wind. Be assured I am protected. They did their job. Where was I? Eyes. Yes, we were talking about eyes, weren't we? Skin imperfections. Yes, I like doing like discoloration sections if I can. Like, I probably should have spent more time on this. I could have done some skin textures as well. I did a little bit with the highlights, sort of like in this like tear duct area with little dots, but I really love adding that sort of stuff. It just adds like, it's a person. It's not like a AI or somebody who's been airbrushed the crap out of, you know, all that sort of stuff. Anyway, I've never done an artwork this close up where I've added freckles, and it didn't occur to me like how freckle it was gonna be. So I ended up like adding them and going, oh, that's really dark, and then like pushing it back. The way you can do that is getting a lighter version of the color that you're using, or if you're like really concerned, you can get the same skin tone that is underneath it, or whatever the base color is underneath the thing that's too dark, and color over the top of it, and eventually it should sort of push back a bit. And then I went in with my gel pen, so this is, you can see how I was doing the thing that you didn't get to see in the bit that disappeared. Basically all I do is just scribble. For some reason I like to do circular motions, but you can do whatever you want. And then I just dab it away, or I smudge it with my pinky. I also did this in the eye area, so this bit here I thought was just a little bit too dark. I wanted it to pop a bit more. And the fun thing about gel pens and markers is you can actually stain it once it's down. So smudged it out, wait for it to dry, and then I just went back in with my markers and just like stained it a bit with the blue. And good days, it's lighter. And you can see here I'm doing that, like I don't even know what they're called, like the little bumps that are in this section of your eye here. And just lightening up this area again. And then now I'm going in with, with black. I think if you've watched a few of my videos, you've probably heard me say before that I hate using black, or I try to avoid black at all costs, and here I am adding like a significant amount of black. It's only because the places that I regularly, religiously use black is in eyelashes and like the pupil of your eye, because that's the place that I want, if I'm doing a portrait, the person to connect with most. I want it to be like the most detailed and most section that pops the most, I guess. So if it's the only place I use black, then your eye automatically goes there. Because this is such a large eye, it's a lot of black for me. Anyway, I'm just adding it in like the bottomest most, lowest most part of the eyelash, and then I blended it out with one of the lighter colors, and then just in the pupil, and that's it. And as you can see, it really works towards like making that area like really pop lovely. And then I'm just going back in with the highlights again with the gel pen, just to try and cover up sections that I went over with the marker, with the black marker. I'm noticing at this point that it's starting to lift as I'm adding the second layer. Normally, because in a normal artwork, like see how big this is? In a normal artwork, the eye section is like that big. So I'm usually just doing like a dot. So it's something that I haven't necessarily occurred to me that would happen before. So I sort of let it dry, I sort of went off and did something else. So I ended up realizing that I kind of wanted to add like the pink to where sort of like the cheekbone would start here. Went in and did that, and then as I was doing that, I was having to think about how I was going to fix this, and I thought I'd just go in with white acrylic and essentially do exactly what you do with a gel pen, but it's acrylic paint. You can definitely use acrylic paint on this paper, but I would not water it down, because the second you start putting water on the blending card, it just like loses its mind. It like disintegrates and self-destructs. And then once I've finished doing that, I'm just doing the last sort of defining things, just checking that I haven't missed anything, I haven't covered anything up, and you know, everything's working nicely. The only thing I noticed was I'd gone over like the lower lashes just the tiniest bit with the paint, so I just fixed that up. And then she's done. As you can see, I used significantly more colours than the original lot that I picked. That's what happens when you have a lot to pick from. You go, oh, I'll try this one, oh, I'll try this one. But you could definitely do it with just the few that I picked at the start. But yeah, I hope, oh, I caught that with my foot. I wish you couldn't, hang on. So that's it. I hope that helps. Every time I do one of these videos, I don't know if I'm giving you information that's useful, or if I'm just like, I don't know, just like blabbering. But I hope that was useful. If you have any questions, or if I was just like totally not of any use and you need help, let me know. Send me a comment, I will reply. I will do at some point, I'm working on a marker course. I've been working on a marker course for like a year and a half. I wrote the entire base course before I had my son, and I don't want to film here. This is my like temporary studio that's not pretty and not professional looking, and I want to have it all nice and pretty before I try and film a proper course, because I want it to be nice and professional if you guys are actually paying for it. But I am going to do a beginner course. I'm going to do an in-depth like start to finish artwork with you guys as well in a second course once you've sort of got your basics down. And then I'm open to any other courses that people would like an in-depth proper course on. I'm working towards it, so let me know if you have ideas on that. Keep an eye out for those. I will be sure to spruik it a lot once it's finally done. Hopefully this year. Until then, I hope this tides you over. Please show me if you had fun doing some monochrome marker art. I would love to see what you came up with. It's just a really fun way of using them. It's probably not the correct way or the most professional way or the most economical way if you want to hold on to your ink, but it's really fun, and I think it just adds depth and a painterly quality that like I don't know how else you would get with markers. If you like this one, have a look at what else I've got on the channel, and if you like those, I'd love it if you'd subscribe. It's amazing to have all of you guys here with me. I've just hit 10,000 subscribers, which is like when I first started back in the day and then quit for a while and came back. That was like such a milestone, and I'm so chuffed to have you guys here and hit that milestone with you. And I just want to like keep steamrolling ahead to 100,000. Interacting, commenting, liking, hitting the subscribe button, hitting the bell, all of that just helps immensely. So if you feel so inclined, that would be so lovely of you. If you want to see more of my artwork, you can see it on the channel, you can see it on my Instagram, all of these socials here in fact, and on my website. And you can buy prints and originals and all of that there too. I hate spruiking myself. I'm okay at art sometimes. Please look at it and enjoy it, maybe. And on that note, I'm gonna go because I embarrass myself every time I try and talk about my art to people, and I need to leave now. Okay, bye!